So Phil Spencer calling in today.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
What for? Why is he calling in?
Because he has news about himself
Oh,
to
does
share.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What could it be, guys? I don't know.
Is he pregnant?
It's possible.
He's got a sweet new T-shirt blazer combo.
That's what you get when you're head of Microsoft.
Yeah.
They hand you the
There you go.
uniform.
Same blazer, new Sunset Overdrive T-shirt.
Want to point out my Cappy shirt? Way better than his. Mine's got Jeff Leppard petting a Cappy on it.
Ooh, that is pretty good.
Suck it, Phil.
Where'd you get that?
I got it from Cappy.
The gauntlet has been thrown down, Phil Spencer.
Step up your Cappy shirt game, Phil. It's on.
I can't wait till E3 when Marty gets his Blinks reboot T-shirt.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wait, now that we have a man on the inside at the top.
That's true.
Phil.
That is true. But yeah, Phil Spencer, head of Xbox now, got promoted.
Excellent news.
As predicted on this very show last week.
Marty was saying earlier this week, like, how weird is it the head of Xbox listens to our dumb baby podcast where we just yell about razor hail and bagoosing.
Yeah. And horrific segues.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Some are pretty
violently
good.
Yours
Just
are
putting
pretty
it out
good.
there.
Like, Phil Spencer deals with us.
Pretty much.
In his own free time.
Yeah.
It's
Because
like,
he wants to.
yeah, like, gee, I guess we better see what's going on. Who's got their finger on the pulse of the Xbox community? It's these psychos. It's these nutcases. Yeah, Phil's going to call in. We'll talk all about his promotion to head of Xbox.
Indeed.
Right after the break, actually.
Oh.
Look at that tease for the next segment.
Ring-a-ding-a-ding.
If only there were a commercial that we made money off of. Instead, there's just this cool musical interlude.
This is really good. I like that exit a lot.
Wait, do we not have commercials? We should get commercials.
No, we don't do that shit anymore. Mark Ryan stopped doing it.
Why?
Because it was dumb.
Okay.
Wasn't making us any money. Also, anytime we ever promote Audible is a good day, because Audible's fucking great.
My wife loves it.
I
It's a super rad
listened to it. I finished a book on Audible today.
Welcome back to Podcast Unlocked, the world's #1 Xbox podcast. Marty Sleva, Ryan McCaffrey, Mitch Dyer, Destin Legary.
Hi.
And big news this week, as we teased at the top, our boy, he's all grown up.
All grown up.
All grown up. Phil Spencer being promoted, named the head of Xbox. He will now not just oversee Microsoft Game Studios, but which is, of course, for all first-party software, but all third-party software relationships as well. Everything Xbox, everything software-related falls under him. When Stephen Elop does officially come on board, because he's still technically transitioning over, he'll still run hardware things, but for all intents and purposes, Phil is the man running all things Xbox. And yeah, we did predict it last week. Go back, listen to the file.
The week after, you straight up asked Phil, "Hey, are you going for the head of Xbox job?"
I asked him to his face. I have it on tape. I said, my exact words were, "Are you in the running for Mark Whitten's job?" And he said no. And I realized, well, he wasn't. He's doing that
Got you.
that gotcha move where he wasn't technically lying to me because
He wasn't in the running.
That and or
Probably that.
It
He probably
wasn't,
already had it.
It wasn't Mark Whitten's exact job because Mark Whitten
True.
was not head of Xbox. So I see what you did there, Phil.
Also, maybe he just winked at you and you missed the wink.
That's entirely possible.
Yeah.
That's a goof.
Also,
Check the
probably
tape.
legally, he had to lie to you.
100%.
Yeah, let's see. Well, lie to this one loser that's asking me questions, or suffer the wrath of my
This is
corporate
that idiot
overlords
from that dumb podcast.
who will not leave me alone.
Do you think now that Phil's the head of Xbox, he doesn't have to listen to us anymore? Like, it was something he had to do before. Now he's like, finally, I'm free.
Now he has to listen to each episode twice.
Yeah.
Or yeah,
That's
maybe
the rule.
You think there's just an intern that has to listen to us now and
Maybe.
hand Phil notes?
Maybe.
Well, what did they complain about this week?
Why do they keep mentioning this cat? This blinking cat?
What is Blinks? Like, son, you weren't born yet. It's okay. We have a new game coming from Cappy.
that's
You'll
all that
find
matters.
out all about what his
All that
time sweeping
matters.
vacuum powers are. But yeah, I mean, what do we think about Phil? You know, speculated a little bit on the show last week.
Yeah.
I think what I said was he's awesome at what he's doing. His magic could make Xbox even better, but it's also kind of scary because what if it's just like a huge job and then the eye comes off the ball.
Yeah, sure. If he's spread too thin, he's not able to concentrate on a single passion.
This was something like when it happened, everybody on Twitter was excited, right?
Yes.
Everyone's like, "Oh, this is good news." And my response was, of course, like, "Hey, Phil's that really smart Xbox guy we talk to a lot, and every time he opens his mouth, he says something smart." And I'm like, "Yep, you get it. That's awesome." But seeing the developer response, like developers across the industry who are like, they don't even make Xbox games, who are like, "Oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is like the best news for Xbox." That widespread reaction was awesome. There was nobody who said like, "Ooh, I don't know about that."
That's
guy.
probably the most telling sign,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Like that developers were excited gets me excited.
Especially that moment, coming off, a handful of months for both Sony and Microsoft of really huge moves at the top and creative switches and people stepping down, people leaving. The industry has almost been in this like weird sort of flux turmoil,
Right?
And so, honestly, this promotion is
It's in flux, Marty.
No.
Sorry,
Had
had to do it.
As soon as I heard it, I was like, here we go.
Yeah, right.
Couldn't pass it up.
I'm excited for us because he says great quotes like "We're in it to win."
Yeah,
That was a good
You
quote.
know?
yeah.
And we just
Maybe
that's
if-
a nice headline.
Maybe he'll say that in like 20 minutes when
Maybe.
we run when he calls in live.
It's on the website already.
Shh!
You're shattering the illusion.
Don't.
Oh, I blew it.
Theater of the mind. It's radio.
Destin wore a suit today because he thought he was going to actually get the interview Phil Spencer.
Oh, I'm excited.
That's not going to end well for you. But so yeah, I think I had a thought about this that maybe really puts it in perspective. I want to see how you guys react. So, Phil Spencer, now the head of Xbox. Let's compare him just from their track records and their sort of likability factor. The man who was virtually the head of Xbox a year ago, Don Mattrick.
Yeah.
Don Mattrick versus Phil Spencer.
I hope that, like,
How did we even get to Don Mattrick? And when you look at it like that, like, well, gee, we had this guy the whole time.
I wonder if Phil Spencer makes as much relentless fun of Don Mattrick as we do. We're so mean to Don. Poor
But
Don.
you know what, though? It's the thing. You gotta eat your shit sandwich when you tell people that we have a console for you offline players. It's called the Xbox 360. And
Was he like ever media trained? Like they do media training
I
for all
just
these
people. Some people are just not like
smart.
Oh, I'm sure he's a smart
Okay.
guy.
No,
Well,
he's
he made a
obviously
lot of money.
Yeah. No, he just didn't.
But he screwed up the Xbox One launch. He did.
We don't know. I mean, as a business guy, he. The Xbox One launch is on him. It just is, and the mistakes of the communication and the messaging are on him. But he, for all we know, he could have been the most savvy businessman in the world. But
True.
just, I would call it, he had horrible stage presence, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Peter Moore, great stage presence.
Yes.
Jay Allard, great. Your
Yep,
boy.
I'm my boy. There you are, Jay.
Jay Allard,
Having drinks with
great
him tonight.
Yeah, great stage presence. Phil Spencer, great stage presence. Quality human being to speak with. So why do you guys think they went with him? I mean, it seems obvious now, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they realized that, okay, the last year taught us a lot. We really need to focus on games.
Yep.
Who's the guy that's going to do that? Oh, it's the guy that always says, let's focus on games.
Yeah.
Let's talk to him, maybe.
Yeah.
So do you guys think, because it seems like an awfully big coincidence that Satya Nadella has taken over Microsoft. It's a new CEO, because in the letter to employees, which of course always gets on the internet, somebody forwards it to
A lot of
somebody.
employees.
Yeah.
It says, it's from the CEO, and he says, I have asked Phil to, I have appointed Phil to the head of Xbox. So this seemingly went all the way to the top.
Yeah.
And maybe Ballmer didn't think as well of him or what have you, but it seems
it could
like
have been
there
a
is
structural thing too, right? Like they might have changed some stuff. Like Mattrick left, and then Witten left. Okay, well maybe we need to restructure the way we operate.
right.
And it's complicated, and only the people who were there know.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been at jobs that go through major shifts like this.
Yep.
And only the people on the inside really know the truth. So
Yeah.
I doubt we ever will.
But it just does. It does seem like there. To your point, Mitch, that there has been a definitive shift in attitude about the Xbox One and how it's doing and how it's being perceived within Microsoft. That shift.
Yeah.
They're not. The blinders have come off, and they're like, all right, the numbers are telling us something.
Oh,
And
look
the
at the
fans,
attach rate of games versus the attach rate of apps.
and the fans are telling us something. And I think we've seen a console that's making a pretty quick turnaround, both perception and presumably the sales will follow. I mean, at the end of the day, the sticker price on the damn thing at $4.99 is still you can't. That's the biggest factor.
Yeah, but at the same time, you look at MPD every month, and consoles doing really well. Both consoles are doing very, very well.
What do you think of the rumor that at E3 they're going to change the name of it to the Xbox Fun?
I'm on board with that.
Yeah, I also wrote that rumor, and by wrote it I mean I just made it up right here.
Should I go news that now?
Yeah,
Do I have to go?
ASAP News Tops.
I love that the pen that I specifically left in here so I could take show notes.
It's been stolen.
It's gone.
I can't take my phone
If
out
only
to
you
take
had a
notes.
phone. That could
Well,
do
he
it.
has a
man.
phone that's currently, damn it, Destin.
Why are you?
You can run multiple apps at the same time.
Everything is the worst.
Sometimes analog is best. Destin.
True.
That's all
Yeah,
I'm trying to
True.
say.
We'll have to do it at a break.
2045 is that what we're saying? That's the
I don't know.
timestamp of this.
But I mean,
Welcome to
it's-
the inside.
we talked about.
This is how we
So,
work.
so what do we? How about let's before we move on from this segment? What
Yeah.
do we think? What do we want Phil to? If we had voted for him, if this had been a campaign, and we didn't. What are the things what do we want to see him do?
I mean, Phil is already talking a lot about, hey, we're focusing on games. We're going to have a big stage presence about games at E3, and indie's a big thing.
Yeah.
I want to see, in the same way that Sony has been active about seeking out indies and finding unique and interesting games like, Journey, Unfinished Swan, it'd be
Rhyme.
great to see...
Rhyme, yeah.
It'd be great to see Phil take a similar initiative to go out and seek out Xbox exclusives in a more aggressive way than we've seen in the past, whether they're indie or not.
Yeah, because it seems like they've just kind of abandoned that whole market.
It does
And
seem that way.
It's really crappy because now Sony's getting all the positive press because they're like, we'll take them.
It's the difference in
Yeah.
marketing, right? Like, you look at every day we're writing a story that is cool indie game announced for PS4 and Vita. Cool indie game announced for PS4 and Vita. I'm not doing that for Xbox at all.
Yeah.
Maybe once a month when they say, here's 25 indie games coming to Xbox One someday.
Yeah.
Someday, yeah.
Yeah.
Here it's like, game announced, release date. Game announced, release date. That's awesome.
If you could make the resolution 1080p
Stop it.
mandatory, just so I don't hear about it anymore. Like make that a mandatory thing. Just
I just have a
if it
filter
runs
on my
that
life
bad-
where I just don't pay attention to anyone who says that.
Well, I mean, those
You've been, like,
stories
mentally
do
blocked.
huge numbers. Those stories do huge numbers, and I just like to hear him make it mandatory that it runs at least at
See,
what
no,
PS4
I mean,
runs at.
I would rather have
Frame
a
rate?
slightly lower resolution and have a smoother
30 frame rate?
smoother
Nope,
experience.
60. Make 60 mandatory. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense either.
No.
Sometimes you don't need 1080p or 60.
No.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said about indie games. Also, I don't think it's going to happen, but I would like to see Microsoft first-party studios sort of reach on par with what Sony's first-party are capable of.
I agree.
Which hasn't ever really happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But Fable Legends, man.
well, we've talked about though how
They just died.
Yeah.
Microsoft's first party strategy is fewer first party titles, but they're all like blockbuster tentpole things.
Yeah.
Forza, Fable, Halo, Gears. One Gear, I think it was it Gears of War 3 and whatever year that came out,
2011.
outsold every Sony first party game.
Oh,
That was a
crazy.
bet that Jim and Greg made that year.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
that
crazy.
one game outsold the entire. So of course, gamers don't care about that. They would rather have the 10 good games than and what they sell, whatever they sell. Who cares? But you can't. I mean, you can't fault Microsoft's business approach. But I agree. Like, I'm with you. Like, Forza 5's great. I'm sure Forza 6 is probably going to add nighttime racing and weather finally in a couple of years, and Halo 5 will hopefully be super interesting. I mean, obviously, I love 4. Fable Legends, I don't even know what to think about that game. I need to be convinced.
Yeah.
And then, what's the other one? Gears is, of course, a ways off yet, but that'll at least be exciting in that it'll be new, one way or the other, new team. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, let's dial it back to the old Xbox days where there were a lot more first-party chances taken, whether it was on a Crackdown or on a Phantom Dust or on a Blinks or something like that. What are you giggling about
Because
over
we got
there?
this is our 100th Blinks mention. I thought Portal was going to open up and a Hellcat was going to come from it.
So you go into a bathroom, turn off all the lights, look in the mirror,
and say Azaric 3 times.
and he will appear.
I think it'd be cool to have some of these studios take sort of an approach to how Ubisoft's doing it with smaller games like Child of Light and Valiant Hearts, where they're allowed to have these like 20 person teams inside of obviously a big AAA culture, make these kind of smaller passion projects that don't take quite as long and don't take as many human beings.
I think Lionhead kind of did that with Fable Legends, or not Legends, Heroes. Heroes, was that what it was
Yeah,
called?
but that was still
I don't
like
know how many people worked on that.
that was
is the
still
thing.
that was. I actually remember interviewing the developers about that. Yeah,
Ted Timmons.
and he had said, they do kind of what Double Fine and a lot of developers do now, and they sort of break off into a couple weeks of like a game jam, an internal game jam, and that game came out of that. So, but yeah, it's still it had to have Fable on it. Like, let's see something from them that doesn't have to have Fable in the name.
Yep.
New IPs are really exciting in a new console generation, and we got some of that with, like, I don't know, Rise is the only one that immediately comes to mind.
We're getting a few more Quantum Breaks.
Sunset and Quantum.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, everything else we just talked about was a sequel.
That is true.
Everything else.
Yep.
I mean,
Gears, Fable, Forza.
maybe, I don't
All
know
right,
if Phil Spencer was just being cute or if he was trying to slyly send a message, but on the day that he was publicly named head of Xbox, he changed his Twitter icon to the original Xbox logo.
That was a great move.
Which which is
Deeply
like,
appreciated.
well played, Phil.
Yeah, I didn't
well
notice that.
played.
That's
I
smart.
see what you did there,
Yeah.
and I like it.
Yeah.
So, so congratulations to Phil Spencer. I mean, I think everybody. It was the one time. It's actually the first time in over a year that there's been a universally positive NeoGAF thread about the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Not a joke. Like, it was, everybody was like, yeah, Phil Spencer, he gets it, because he does. And go back if you get a chance. If you're a new listener, welcome, hello, by the way.
Hi.
Go back and listen to.
Sorry.
I believe it was, I don't know what episode number, but early November, Phil Spencer came in here and he sat down with me for an hour, and we had a really cool discussion about the future of the platform and what sort of his vision for it is, and his what he thinks of various things like Gears, and I asked him about Project Gotham Racing and whatever else we talked about. But it was a interview I'm really proud of, and I think it says a lot about Phil if you were to go back and listen to it now.